Compare yourself to the version of you that you were yesterday and the version of you want to be tomorrow, and find your weaknesses, make friends with them, and figure out if they're worth improving.
And if you want to learn from someone else's strengths, that's great. But I think that it's you have to be very careful. I don't think comparison is bad. Nothing is good or bad, but it's how you use it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode where we were featured on Jeff Knows Inc. with Jeff Lopez, and you got a different look to Alan and I. We talked about some different stuff.
We were out there jeffing.
We were out there jeffing with Jeff. Today, for episode number 587, we are going to go through a vulnerable story from me.
I'm excited.
You're excited because it's easy for you?
It's easier.
It's an easy episode for you? You just hang in there and...
I'm gonna hang tight.
Okay.
I've got my Panera coffee. They do not sponsor us, but
Yet.
Panera coffee is delicious.
Would you take a Panera sponsorship?
Yeah, probably. I like that company a lot.
I do too. I like their foods as well. So, before we just run off the rails here completely with this episode...
Why, do you know somebody?
I
No,
don't.
I'm
Not
kidding.
yet. Not yet. So, this is kind of a two-part thing. I guess there's a couple of different parts of this. So, I'll open with this. I was on a call today with a listener, and it was a super vulnerable, super raw call about somebody who doesn't really believe in themselves. And this person wants to be a speaker, and this person has a lot of valuable things to talk about. Well, I'll put it like that. And she's got a very unique perspective, and she's a sweetheart, and she's young. Like, she has an amazing, bright future ahead of her. But she doesn't necessarily have the belief that she can do what she wants to do. And one of the things she said was, I'm not like the successful people. I'm not like the speakers that I look up to. I'm not like those people. I'm not like successful people. And I said, well, that's probably a really good thing. Like, nobody is you. You are a unique person who has experiences, lessons, knowledge, perspective that nobody else on the planet has. Nobody has ever lived your life the same way you have.
Nope.
And I think that was a good reframe for her. And we had this really good talk, and I'm going to help her with her speaking and all that happy jazz. But you come into the studio today, and you and I had a very, very vulnerable talk where I feel like since the beginning of this podcast, I have tried to kind of model Alan. So I started reading because of Alan. I started listening to audiobooks because of Alan. I started tracking because of Alan. A lot of the things that I'm doing on the day-to-day basis that are bringing me success are from you. But how do you model somebody without modeling them too much? And that's kind of the balance. And I was crying in the studio today with Alan. We were talking about it, and it was like, I think I've lost myself a little bit. And I'm sharing this because if you're out there, you might still know exactly what you want, right? Maybe you're crystal clear on where you want to be. But I think sometimes the path changes. And for me, it was like, I'm not on group coaching. Alan's different than I am. Alan does a lot of fundamentals and frameworks where I do like one-on-one questions and answers. And that's just the way and that's not wrong. It's different, right? And I think understanding who you are, understanding that you have a unique perspective that nobody else in the world has, understanding that what somebody else's strength is, it doesn't mean you can't have a different one.
Right.
It doesn't mean you can't have a different perspective. Because you're different from somebody else, it doesn't mean you can't succeed. It means that your success is going to look, feel, and be different. It means the journey is going to be different. It means everything is going to be different. It doesn't mean you can't be successful. And you know, I've been on the phone with many listeners, and that's a common theme of like, well, I could never do what you guys do. And it's like, well, you know, this person I was talking to is 21 years old. I said, look, when I was 21, I hadn't experienced any of this. I didn't know what I wanted. I hadn't gone through my suicidal phase. I hadn't read a book. Like, picture that. If you're watching or listening, you guys listen to us, and I hope we bring you value. That is always our goal. When I was 21, I had never read a personal development book. When I was 22, 23, 24, 25, I had never read a personal development book.
Right.
Okay? I'm 31 now.
And this person's way ahead of where you were then because they're already reading books.
They're
doing group coaching.
If you're younger than 31 and you're listening to this podcast, you're ahead of where I was most likely.
Right.
Because you're listening to something that, you know, we can see around the corner in a lot of these things.
Mm-hmm.
If you're older, you're still way ahead of where you would be if you didn't do this.
And statistically, you're ahead of most humans.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
the goal, like, again, this isn't a super heavy learning episode, but this is, if you're out there and you ever feel like you're losing yourself, or you ever feel like you're unsure of what you're doing, or you're unsure of the way you're doing something, just remember that if your goal hasn't changed, it's still okay to change the journey. It's okay to change how you get there. And that's what I did. I did a lot of soul searching today. And I'm sure you can tell in my energy. My energy is a little bit different. I'm in a very good place, but a very reflective and transformative place.
I think what a lot of people do, and I've been guilty of this as well, is you look at someone else's strengths and more than you look at your own. So, like, for example, if you were to look at my strengths and then compare yourself subconsciously or consciously to those strengths without looking at your own strengths, of course you're not going to feel good about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this or listening to this, it's obvious that you want to get to the next level of your life. We can help you get there faster.
In 3 months from today, your life can look completely different. Here's how. Group coaching. Here's what you're going to get. So you're going to get bi-weekly calls with Kevin and myself. You're going to be on a team of 10 like-minded, growth-oriented individuals. You're also going to be in a WhatsApp chat with Kevin and I and the entire team, 24/7 access to chat. Also, you're going to get bi-weekly progress reports and peak performance tracking.
Guys, this is a great opportunity for those who can't afford one-on-one coaching with Alan and myself. We have helped dozens and dozens of people get to the next level at this point. Go to nextleveluniverse.com, click group coaching, or find the link in the show notes.
Talk to you soon. We could even do something really simple like I was skiing at 4 years old. I have, videos of me skiing, doing the pizza down the hill at 4. No poles, just like hands out, like falling down it. And if you were to snowboard with me, unless you are extremely, extremely good and probably grew up on a mountain, like it's not going to be close. And who cares? I've been on the mountain since I was 4, But if you and I were to go, I don't know, you've driven trucks before. Mm-hmm. You used to drive a Class B truck, right? Yeah. I don't know how to do that. No clue. I remember we were helping Em and Tom move, and you moved the truck for us. I don't have any idea how to do that. Mm-hmm. It didn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. And I think that this is something that a lot of people struggle with. I don't want anyone out there to compare someone else's strengths to your weaknesses. Yeah. Instead, you should be looking at your own strengths. And if you want to learn from someone else's strengths, that's great. But I think that it's you have to be very careful. I don't think comparison is bad. Nothing is good or bad, but it's how you use it. Yeah. And I think that maybe you've unconsciously or subconsciously allowed certain parts of my strengths to like make you feel less than or something. And it's just not true, Kev, because there's certain things that you're naturally better at that are just as valuable, but they're not going to be if you don't focus on them.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too is like I get to see way behind the scenes of Alan and what Alan really knows and, the business things we talk about. So I think that's another thing is like when you're building a business with somebody, it's different in terms of just it's not really comparison, it's knowing. I'm not comparing to the highlight reel. I'm comparing to like what I actually know is true. So that's another thing. But again, I don't want this episode to be about me. I want it to be about the lesson that I took and how to share it with you guys. And that's honestly, like I told this young lady, the best part about you is that you are different.
Right.
But it will always feel like the worst part if you don't lean into it. Every single person walking the face of the earth is different.
Right.
And the people who lean into those unique strengths and honestly, who mitigate their weaknesses by finding the people who have those strengths or learning those weaknesses and turning them into strengths,
right.
Those are the people who ultimately succeed. So if you feel lost, if you feel stuck, if you're questioning your identity, I think number one, I think it's par for the course. I think it's going to happen as your awareness raises. You get Jeff and you get the snow globe shaketh.
Oh, yeah.
Shooketh, as we say.
Yep.
But as long as it lands in a better place, which it usually does, I think you'll have a better understanding. You'll know what to do.
The way that you feel and the confidence that you have in your relationship with Taryn, and you've always said like, well, I'm not worried about that. I know that I can succeed there. That was at one point something that I had no confidence in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just, I think that, I guess what's your main takeaway? I guess what's the new awareness that you have of yourself or of in general? Because I do think that it's really important to know your own strengths. And I don't know if a lot of people do. I'm realizing that quickly.
That's probably what the big takeaway for me is, like, understand that where you're strong might not seem as valuable, but maybe it's not as valuable to you. It doesn't mean it's not as valuable to the world.
Right.
I'm really good at connecting with the listeners. Like, if you're watching this or listening to this, there's a chance you and I have spoken.
Right.
High chance. And I pride myself on that. Am I as intellectual and as intelligent as Alan when it comes down to the actuals? Probably not. But that's okay. It doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't mean I can't add as much value. It just means I can add different value. It means I'm a different person.
Right.
That's my takeaway is, don't compare yourself to us. Don't compare yourself to the people you see on TV. Compare yourself to the version of you that you were yesterday and the version of you want to be tomorrow, and find your weaknesses, make friends with them, and figure out if they're worth improving, and figure out if you can get around people that will help you. Again, group coaching, not, quick plug. That's what group coaching is.
Right.
This person's in group coaching and it's raised her confidence level. I said, this is what's happening. You're going into environments where the people don't believe in you and you're adopting those environments. I said, imagine if you saw me every day. Every single day you came into work and I was there. How much more confident would you be? And she said, it'd be a different life. I said, that's why you need to lean into the group. You need to lean into me. You need to lean into Next Level Nation. If you're out there right now and you need somebody to lean into, Group Coaching Round 3, Next Level Nation, Next Level Meetup Monday. That's where these things are out there. Because you're going into an environment where there's probably not a ton of belief being thrown at you. Nothing is impossible in these groups.
Right.
I genuinely want you to come in and tell us your wildest dreams, because I guarantee nobody's going to laugh at them.
Right. 100%. Well said.
I appreciate that very much. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, and I say this, I don't know, every episode probably?
Pretty
much every single episode?
Yeah, it's been everyone.
We don't have fans. We have family. Up next, we have our meetup from last week. And as we have mentioned, the meetups are now live in Next Level Nation. And then there is a Zoom link in the description if you want to join the post-meetup with the team. Tomorrow, you will hear our last week's meetup. Stop letting your past control your future. So many people are allowing, very strong one. So many people are allowing their pasts to negatively influence their future. What if you could positively use your past and make the life of your dreams happen?
100%. So if you're out there right now, we actually have a bunch of these coming up. Next Level speeches.
Yes.
So we do virtual speeches for, if you're a listener of the show, we do the first one completely free. We did one for Young Living. We did one at Lake Ave Recovery. We are going to do more and more and more of these. But basically, with a simple direct message to Kevin or myself, just say, hey, I'm interested in a Next Level speech. Boom. We'll come into your organization. We'll send a questionnaire to the organization. You will shine by having us in, and we just want to help.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't say it before. I said it. I lined it up like I was going to say it, but I didn't say it. I actually pivoted off there and I went off into the weeds there a little bit. As always, every single episode I say this, we don't have fans, we have family. We are so, so, so grateful for each and every one of you. And honestly, I feel very blessed that we have been speaking to all of you way more. Next Level Nation is blowing up. And because of you, we get to do this.
Right.
Like, don't ever forget that, because I promise we never do. We will talk to you on the next one.
Talk to you soon.